Pete, welcome to the Platform Podcast. The goal of these podcasts is to give our viewers an insight on how to succeed with an online business.
Awesome.
Today we have Pete Kaminski.
Spot on.
Perfect. With us, who is currently living in Jeddah. Pete is a private trainer, an online coach, and also a radio host.
Yeah, not sure how, but that's happened, yes.
That's going to be interesting to talk about. So, to start off, tell us about yourself, your background, and how you ended up in Saudi.
Okay, so from London, right? So from London, I was in advertising and marketing for about 9 years. And I kind of fell into that. And that's probably quite a common theme throughout all of this. And I was always into sport, always into training. And so that was always something I did for me, right? Played with team in whatever sport I was playing, but the gym, training, working out was always for me. That was something I did. Whether out of vanity or whatever, it was. It's always been through my life. Plus, it makes you feel awesome. So I got to the point in my career, my sort of agency life, where I thought, okay, I can either continue as I am and work up the ladder and do more of the same. You know how it is. And that wasn't really for me. I wanted a different direction, and that was me at like 28. Okay. So I was, through my 20s in London, and it's not really common for people then to say, I'm going to go do this. So it wasn't quite that like instant decision. It was a decision that was made probably over a year and a half, whereby I started posting on Instagram, as lots of people do, and gradually, my following grew in terms of what I was posting when it comes to fitness. And then you'd get a DM asking for training, advice, coaching. And so, that happened a little bit more regularly. And I was like, to actually do this properly, I'm going to have to get qualified. Right?
Yeah.
I'm going to have a certification. I'm going to have to know what I'm doing. Obviously, I trained for pretty much a decade at that time. So I knew what I was doing, but not, didn't have the qualification. So I did that. And then I started taking clients on. And that was always like the online side of things was always the side hustle, the thing on the side, the thing I'll do at the weekend or in the evenings after work.
So you started taking clients on while having a full-time job?
Yes.
Okay, so after hours.
Exactly.
All
so
right.
After hours and before hours. I remember I would be taking like a 6 and 7 a.m. class before I'd then be at my desk at work at 8:30. So it was intense, but it's one of those things where, if you really want to do something, you've got to have a bit of a plan in place in terms of, well, unless you're financially stable, where you can be like, you can cut it at any point and then switch totally over to the other thing. You can't really do that when, you need the income from your day job.
Yeah, so basically part of your hesitation was due to financial reasons.
It's financial reasons, yes. And also, I would say self-belief as well.
Okay.
And again, that has been a theme throughout, I would say, because, starting something new, no matter what that is, whether it's going to the gym for the first time, whether it is, a change in career direction, whether it's, I don't know, asking a girl out, whatever, that requires some sort of self-belief that you are able to do it. And I think that is a limiter for a lot of people in what it is they do. For me, it's still even the case as well in something.
Until today.
Throughout. It'll be with me. It'll be with me forever, I think. But the more you do something, the more confidence you get in
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely.
And so like from now, like the first online client I had for like £60 a month was the first one, and I was over the moon about that, to now, having like 40 clients paying, I don't know,
X amount.
Exactly. It's quite sort of, it's always good looking back at my finance tracking sheets and being like, this was year one versus this is where I'm at now. And it's that reality sort of check.
And there's like a proof of concept that you can do it.
Exactly.
And not to jump the gun here, but how did you end up in Saudi?
So as I was sort of leaving that agency at the time, I was going to go freelance because I was like, okay, more money, I can then do stuff with more money and then also focus more on my PT and online side. And so at that time, I didn't really have any responsibilities. I had like a mortgage with my brother, but that wasn't really a limiter. That wasn't tying me down. And a friend of mine said that there's this guy looking for trainers in Saudi. Bear in mind, I'd never worked in a gym. And so I might have twisted some truths a little bit.
Okay.
I'd done private PTs, quite a lot of them, with the clients that you kind of get here, right? From the GCC region coming to London, and I'd work with some of them, but I'd never worked in a gym. And so that was quite I had to really think if that was something I wanted. And for me, it was a bit of a stepping stone, right? So I went to meet this guy. He spoke about the vision of this place, the gym, First Mix gym, the opportunities, the growth. And it was that thing that I needed, I think, in my life to really change the direction. Because, I'm sure you hear in London, it's a bit of a hamster wheel. You kind of can do the same thing year after year, decade after decade, and you follow the path that is laid out, right?
Yeah.
University, jobs, marriage, buy a house, kids, and that's kind of what happens. I wanted something different. So the pull of the money was obviously incentivizing, but also the experience and the opportunity.
Have you been to the Middle East before?
Never.
So when you moved here, it was your first experience?
First experience. And they said, come for 2 weeks, see how it is. I remember telling my dad, he's an engineer and he'd been out to Riyadh various times throughout his career. And his first thing he said was, do you want to go there? So I wasn't going to let that faze me. To be honest, I did no research, nothing. Like I didn't sort of type, work in Saudi, what's Saudi like? I just sort of
came blindly.
Had the 2 weeks and landed in Jeddah airport, the old one, and was like, oh God. But yeah, I thought
that's not the case anymore.
No, people won't understand.
This was what year?
2019, so pre-corona.
Pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Were you here during COVID?
Yes.
You were stuck with us, yeah?
I was stuck, but to be honest, it wasn't really stuck, because the alternative was literally being stuck in a smaller apartment in London, no swimming pool, no gym, no sun.
Yeah.
Kind of, it wasn't really a
bad situation.
No.
Amazing. So you're not with the gym anymore?
No, so I'm a year out. So I was there for 3 years.
Okay. And you made the transition of being in a physical place to having your online business?
So the online has been something that has always been there.
Since you landed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had that for a year, 2 years before I came, and then sort of carried that through. Over that time, I would say I've been able to put more of my own time into it. Ups and downs, as you could imagine, with the demands of a day job. But that has always kept me busy. I'm someone who, I think, at that point, I hate relying on people. I hate it. So, day job, another stream of income, something else. And, that keeps me not feeling desperate or that I'm depending on one thing.
Yeah. There's a saying, slave to the desk or something.
Yes,
I'm that. So maybe I should take your advice and do something online. So what are the main challenges for you in terms of running an online business?
So it was my perception, I would say, from the start.
And just before you continue, I just also want to understand, do clients find you, or do you find the clients, or did that build up during the time? If you can touch upon it, please.
For sure. So my, misconception at the beginning was, it's going to be easy, going to make a load of money, going to be able to work the hours that I want. And I think that is quite common in people who sort of want to create some sort of passive income. There's a naivety in that, I'll be on holiday, seeing the money come in and life is great. To be honest, the amount of work I do now in my online is like way more than I've worked ever in my life. So it's like the perception or the misconception is it's going to be, program, do this, check in, done. but it's really not, because ultimately
It's customized per client.
exactly,
Correct?
exactly. And ultimately, I mean, there's different ways to do it. And for me, it's now where I'm at the moment, it's about, first of all, leaving the client in a better place than when they started. So that is number one. Obviously, alongside that is getting them the result that they want, and then also being the last coach that they ever need. Because what I found with PT, and I'm probably diverting from the question here a bit, is you're a PT. If you're a good PT, you do 9, 10, 11, 12 hours a day, back to back. And so you can't deliver a good service that way, let alone look at everything that's happening outside of your client's time in the gym.
Yeah.
So me and you were training together for an hour, you get a great session in. But like the result, the fat loss, the muscle gain, whatever it is, comes from everything else happening.
The food,
Everything else. So that is what lacks, I feel, in PT, is you don't have the ability to look at that unless you're going to be working when you get home for another 6 hours, you know?
Yeah.
So for me, it's ensuring that I understand and start with the client. So I think just to take a step back a sec, online coaching in sort of other parts of the world is sort of more of an acceptable way to train, right? I think COVID led to that, where people couldn't go to the gym, so actually I need a coach in a virtual space, and the level of trust in the industry increased massively. What I find here is that there's still distrust. There's I'm not seeing this person, I don't know who there is or who they are, so I don't want to part with my money in case, you know, I don't get the service. So it's super important to, from the get-go, start with the client and understand everything there is to know about them. Because, you know, if they want the result, you need to know their training ability, their nutrition habits, their stress levels, their sleep, their what's happening in their job, their family, their this, their that, everything. Because then what you can do is you can then work up the training specifically for them. You know, you look at having a movement assessment, they record videos, they send them back, you can critique them, you can analyze them, you base the training off of that, and then you obviously structure in whatever way or journey you want the client to be on. You've then got all the nutrition side, food journals, calorie counting, whatever that might be. And then also, it's probably the part which I kind of like the most in a way, where you're seeing someone grow and change as an individual. They're making better habits for themselves. Like they have higher levels of autonomy as they go about their day. They're not a victim to habits which have led them to this place in the past. So it's really like a super personal approach for me, to ensure the client has everything they need to get to where they want.
You're like a therapist.
I'm everything, yes, but yeah, that feels like that at times.
So again, back to my question: do you find the clients, or?
Oh yes, so they tend to come to me, especially here in Saudi, where you know, people will watch you from afar, follow your Instagram account, see if they like you. It might be a year until they message you. And so that's why the whole content side of things is so important. But yes, generally they come to me. Word of mouth is a big thing as well, both negative and positive. If people have bad experiences, then, you know, they'll tell everyone, which obviously, you know, as I said, I want to leave everyone in the best possible way. Yeah. And then, you know, in order to grow, it's like with anything, right? You need some sort of outbound message, right? It's not, you know, you're not Coca-Cola waiting for people to come into the store and pick up a can. You have to advertise, you have to broadcast, you have to get your name out there and speak to these people in particular. Because, you know, with training, people generally don't like asking for help. And so they might be wanting to ask for help for years, but if you kind of offer out that hand, then they'll be more receptive to take it. So it's a balance of the inbound and the outbound.
And do you pay marketing like normal businesses to market yourself?
So now I have a copywriter who helps me, because like having an online business, you do everything. You do your sales calls, you do your social media, your copywriting, your editing, your content creation, you do your finances, you do the programming, you do the nutrition, you do the date, everything. And so in order to, and obviously as you grow, it's very easy to get stuck in the day to day. I'm sure you know this with business, right? It's easy to serve a client, but where's the growth coming from? And so having support where you potentially are weak or don't have time for has to come in. So, I have someone write some copy. I've actually just hired and brought on a client success coach because that was something that I was seeing drop as I grow my service. And to have someone who comes in and looks after specifically the client accountability is something that has, led to further retention, better client results, them enjoying it so much more rather than me being stretched across everything.
And do you think for someone that wants to transition into an online business, they should have the full setup from day one or do it organically? Like start doing it on their own and then bring a copywriter, let's say an accountant. And
for sure. So definitely start on, they need to understand what it is they want out of it, right? If they want their online coaching to be a supplement to what they do, then obviously the time needs to reflect that. If they want to move entirely online, and this is probably a mistake that I made, or not a mistake, but just, something I could have done better. Maybe. A learning, exactly. I would have spent or given it more time of my day rather than just having it tick along and do the sort of minimum whilst I'm focusing on my day job. So you need to, you need to balance things accordingly. If you want to move entirely online, then you need to start looking at the processes, the systems, your target audience, and treat it like a business rather than just going online on a side hustle. Because often online is like an afterthought. It's like, I could do online coaching, but it's a business in itself. As I said, it's the hardest I've ever worked, which is obviously super fulfilling, but comes all sorts of other issues.
Would you do anything else?
Would I
do anything else, or is this like the job of your dream? Or do you see yourself pivoting to something else?
Good question. And that's probably one of my areas that I need to work on is where am I going with everything? Where am I taking it? For now, what I've started doing is you get to the point where, as with anything, right, it becomes very sort of samey, right? You've obviously got it to a point and you want more. You want more out of business, you want more out of life, whatever that might be. And so for me at the moment, I found I was getting lots of sort of female inquiries, and the females would do more of the work than the males. So
that's always the case.
So they would do their tracking, they would like keep you in the loop, they would communicate, they would do this, that, everything. So they obviously see the results, and so it's a really enjoyable experience working and programming and training with those individuals. So now what I'm doing is trying to build a community. And what I found is these women that really push in to make change in their life. The problem is it's lonely. It's lonely trying to drive in your own direction. If your family don't really understand what it is you're trying to do, or your friends are kind of like pulling you out to Albake or whatever it is, there's lots of distractions. So for me, like I invited them all out for dinner, and just as for
them to meet each other.
Exactly. Just as a way to sort of see how it went. Could a community work? And honestly, like the stories, like people were sort of sharing really, really personal stuff with people they've never met before. But the one common thing is they're all on this journey. They're all on their same journey. And so for me now at the moment, in terms of, where I want to take it, it's building something bigger, a community that, is not just about fat loss or, losing weight or whatever it might be, but actually around creating belonging and community within fitness, which I feel here particularly is lacking.
Very beautiful journey then.
Yes, and it will continue to flourish.
Inshallah.
Yes.
That's every word that every foreigner knows. That's a word that every foreigner knows even before landing. What are the key pillars, in your opinion, to build a successful online business?
Okay, so I would say, first of all, you need some sort of structure. If you're just doing everything on a whim, then when you grow, it's going to just implode. So processes and systems are really important. You know, you don't need to be perfect from day one if you've only got 1 or 2 clients, but that is something that needs to, you know, come with time, and you need to make the systems and processes work for you rather than, you know, you just basically winging it, right? So that's one. I would say the next is sort of your marketing, right? So you need to be, as with any business, you need to be speaking to a particular target audience, because if you're trying to speak to everyone, if you're trying to say, all right, we're going to build your strength, you know, get 100 kilo squat, we're going to get you to lose 20 kilos, we're going to get you to, I don't know, get a 6-pack. You're kind of speaking, you're trying to speak to everyone, but then the message doesn't resonate with anyone. And so be clear, start with your target audience. Who are those people you want to work with? Who are those people who want, you know, you want to help and support? And who are you sort of educated in to help? Who do you enjoy helping? Because then that makes the business that much easier if you enjoy working with these kinds of people. So be clear on who you're targeting and what that means for your marketing. So what are their pain points? What are they struggling with? Where can they look at, like, what is in their lifestyle that they can resonate to? Because as soon as you start talking about that, that then hooks them in, and then they're starting to be interested. You need to be also just likable, genuine, authentic, whatever you want to call it, because in the online coach, like, anyone can go onto Google and type in a workout. Anyone can find the perfect workout, the perfect diet plan, but people don't, right? People want to connect with someone. And and Taya, she often says, Pete, half the time, I swear people just rent you as a friend.
A therapist.
Yes, and that's the thing, like, you have to be likable. So, you know, be you, because I'm sure, like, people are going to be drawn to certain qualities of you. If you're pretending to be someone else, you can't keep that up for long.
100%.
And it's going to be tough to sort of be this character that you are. So yes, you've got your processes, your systems, your marketing, and you've got to be good at selling. Like, you've got to understand the sales, because, you know, yes, you're trying to help people, but you need to get someone to believe, trust, and value you enough to pay you to help them.
So just a question there, you know, and I've seen this a lot, but people get frustrated after 2 weeks for not seeing results. Mm-hmm. Okay, I've been one of those people at some point in my life. How do you convince people to keep, you know, going on with the program, and you're going to see results at this point or that point?
So that is something I've brought in relatively recently, because I think there was that lack of expectation versus reality was different. And so when I take someone on, obviously have the consult call, know everything there is to know about them, I will then create their journey. And so a lot of this is about being inspirational, being the leader that they need you to be, right? They're paying you to take you on this journey, or take them on this journey. And what that starts with is being clear about what their goals are, if there's a deadline in accordance to that. So, for example, they want to lose 10 kilos, fine. What you then do is look at their starting point. How much are they willing to train? How much are they willing to change, you know, their daily life in terms of what it is they eat, their steps, all this kind of stuff. So once you have those two things, you can then look at, okay, let's set some expectations. If you do X, Y, Z, these things on a daily basis, then we can expect these changes. And this is the accountability thing, which is really important, because ultimately you behave your way to a result. And so if I say you will lose 0.2 to 0.5 kilos a week if you do X, Y, and Z. If you don't do X, Y, and Z, then you know you've fallen short. And so the education is there that, okay, for 5 of the days you did abysmally, for 2 of the days you did great, so can we expect to lose that much weight? No, because you haven't done what we need to do. And so part of it is the week on week accountability of how you're getting on. So, you know, for example, week 1 you did 1 out of 4 workouts, you hit your step target 4 out of 7 days, you had 10 servings of protein instead of 30 over the course of the week. So we can then see and add in the focus areas for the next week. okay, so you did really well here with your steps. What's happening with the training? How can we get you in the gym? Like, what's coming up? What's the issue there? When it comes to your food, okay, like, do we need a plan to, you know, you have meals out twice a week. How can we create a calorie buffer to accommodate that? Or you're traveling this week. Let's look at X, Y, and Z. Before you go, have a plan in place so that you can keep that plan.
Being proactive.
So it's exactly, and to be honest, it's on the client. Like, they are responsible for their actions ultimately. You can give them the sort of what they need to do, the expectations, the accountability, support as much as they need. But ultimately, they're the ones who need to work. And that is like, you can't eat the food for them, right? You can't lift the weights for them. And that, like, there needs to be accountability, and that comes across in every part of life, like your job, your family, whatever. It's no different.
Thank you for that. One last question. So when it comes to teaching and creating content online, where do you see technology coming in the next 5 years, and how is it going to complement it?
I think the platforms available are going to be that much better. So for me at the moment, like, I've got a training platform, I've got like a lifestyle and nutrition platform, and the problem is like, there's not one platform which does everything really well. So I think the opportunities are to seamlessly, or to make the customer journey seamless as possible for the client, right? You want as little sort of barriers for them to do the work. For example, a simple one, if they open your app and it takes longer than 5 seconds to load, like, that becomes a barrier.
Yeah. If I have to have 3 different apps to track 3 different things.
Exactly. And so having everything sort of in one place, whether it's your billing, whether it's your communications or whatever, making it simple as possible for both the trainer or the coach or whoever is the business owner, and the client is going to be really important, because ultimately the coach or the business owner has so many other things to do. Sort of fiddling around with tech and I've done it, it's a huge time waste.
Yeah.
So to be able to have the confidence in a platform that is going to deliver what you need it to deliver, and to be able to potentially customize it for your own business needs, and to be able to automate, which is huge, like, comes down to systems and processes, is going to be key, I think, for the future. And I mean, even with AI coming in, like, how does that affect things? Because, for example, like, I'm in a mentorship, and that is another thing that is, I think, really important, is if you are looking to get in online, as you would in any other line of work, is you would ask the right people the right questions. And that is something I didn't do for too long. And so having someone more experienced who's doing what you want to do is key to understanding what I need to do. So mentor, pay someone, ask for someone, whatever, just speak to someone about how they've done it. And then you can look at for you, because as I was saying, like, just with this mentorship program, they've built AI into their systems, whereby instead of, you know, however many mentees, say 100 mentees asking the same questions, they've now got this platform where you can literally just type in,
and it's learning.
And it's learning. So I can be like, okay, what are the things I need to do and implement for a community event? It will come back and say, bum, 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 from whatever resources, from whatever trainings have happened. So, like, I don't need to wait for so-and-so to get back to me. It's literally there, and I can do it at any point. So I think that's an incredibly exciting opportunity.
It's amazing.
Scary
as
well.
Scary, but amazing. Before we close, any parting words for aspiring people that want to go into creating content online and making a business out of it?
I would say it has a perception that it's very, very glamorous, right? I'm with my laptop, I can work at a cafe, I can do this, I can be on a holiday and earn money. It's one of the most, like, anxiety-ridden things that I've done, just because, like, for me, service is number one. And so I want to ensure, as I said, every client has the best service. I leave them in the best possible way or state. And whilst, yes, there's elements that you can make a lot of money and it can be glamorous at times, you're going to be sitting behind your laptop. You're going to be sitting on your phone for hours and hours and hours in the day. So if you're wanting a 9 to 5, you want to know your working hours and whatever else. It's not like that. You can do it like that, but then you're going to limit your own growth, because ultimately it's the same with fitness. If you want to achieve something which is out of the norm, above average, outside of average, then you're going to have to do something which
above average.
Exactly. So you can't. As I said, you behave your way to your results, whether that's in fitness, whether that's in business. So the more you put in, the more you're going to get out. And yeah, like, know why you are getting into it in the first place. So have your clear why. If it is glamour, if it is money, those probably aren't the best motivators.
Yeah. Great.
Awesome.
Pete, thank you so much for your time today.
No, thank you.
And we look forward to seeing more of you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you very much.